Welcome back to Tales and Fails Miniatures. Today, I decided to grab a couple of my favorite miniatures out of my collection to show them off to you guys. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's set this one off to the side here. We'll start with the Hollow Dragon. This is a exclusive from the collector's edition of Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, and you only get it with that entire collector's edition. It's probably my favorite miniature in my collection. One of the more rare ones for sure, since you do have to buy it that way. But it's my favorite because this thing is just absolutely insane. It looks awesome. The actual stat block on it is really cool, and I don't think it's easy to beat something that is completely made of hollow flame. But this thing is just absolutely insane. I love it. I think they did an amazing job sculpting it. I think they did an amazing job painting it. The armor plating and everything on this thing, the flames, it just shows off a really cool fact of, something you don't see very often in D&D. So to be throwing this at your table definitely gets the players a little bit more excited. So I really enjoy this one. It does have a CR of 18 and an armor class of 19. And then I'm actually unsure on hit points here. It looks like 241, which obviously depending on what level you are, you want to probably scale that up a little bit. That's probably one of my favorite things to do in D&D is take a normal stat block and then be able to modify it depending on what your players are doing, things of those sorts. And, obviously you can always relower it or anything like that after the fact. But this miniature by itself is absolutely sick. One of my favorite things about the Hollow Dragon, it actually has an ability called Reconstruction, which once it hits 0 hit points, its body falls into 9 pieces. It's 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 wings, a tail, a torso, and a head. And it is basically each piece has a AC of 19 and 27 hit points. But after 1d6 days, if all pieces are within 6 miles of each other, they all teleport to the location of the head, whereupon the Hollow Dragon regains all of its hit points and becomes active again. So basically, unless you take all the pieces really far away from each other or destroy them, it just keeps coming back. So that's just a really, again, cool factor. Something you can play into that of, having it come back. Like if you're basically, Hollow Dragons are meant to protect a object or, a place. So if your players steal the thing that the Hollow Dragon was protecting, and then it comes back because they don't understand why, what happens if you don't destroy the body parts, then it can hunt them back down and confuse them a little bit. Just a little fun flair there. But I just think there's so many good ideas that can come out of just that ability alone. So that is why this is probably one of my favorite miniatures. And again, it just looks absolutely amazing. So that is my WizKids one that I have picked out. And then I honestly picked out one of my 3D printed. I think when I first saw this miniature, this is from Bestiarium Miniatures, I believe. I'll put it on the screen here. But it is, I immediately saw the file and thought it was just absolutely wicked. And it came up with so many cool ideas to use this. And actually, I built an entire, basically an arc of my campaign based off of this miniature. It just is something that you never see. Super wicked. Again, it can flare it in so many different ways and can, again, create your stat block in any way you want for something, like this. You can give it legendary actions. You can give it layer actions. You can just twist it and shape it in any way that you want for your game to make it match a little bit better. I painted it up to be a little bit more grim, dark, and gross, and I think it turned out absolutely amazing. Probably one of my favorite paint jobs that I have currently done. This thing is awesome, and the sculpts from Bastarian, by the way, are absolutely nuts. So much detail. I mean, down to even some of the smooth spots still have wrinkles in them, and they just do such an amazing job on all of their 3D files. There's a couple more that I really want from them that I just haven't had time to print out. So, yeah, I would highly recommend checking them out because they have some of the coolest miniatures for sure, especially if you're kind of into like the little bit more grim dark, or they just have a style to them for sure that is really, really cool, and probably one of my favorites from them. They have a couple other one, like the Jailer. That's another one that I'm really excited about, like I said, and yeah, I would highly recommend checking them out. That's all I can say. These miniatures are absolutely insane and extremely detailed and super easy to paint, honestly, due to the fact that they're right at the right level of detail. It isn't too much to where you have to spend hundreds of hours trying to fill in all these little detailed areas. They are just detailed enough to where you can put on a couple of base layers, maybe a glaze and a wash, and they turn out absolutely insane. I mean, this thing, in my opinion, is a really cool paint job on it, and it did not take me very long. So, and then I'll do one honorary mention here. So, you don't always have to buy 3D files or buy from like a WizKids or something like that. This miniature I actually made out of Warhammer 40k parts. There's a parts bin at my local, one of my local miniature stores called the Fantasy Shop, and they have just all parts from, I forget what the names of the different creatures and things in Warhammer are, but I took a bunch of pieces from there and actually created my own and just kind of kit bashed it, and this was just a really cool, fun little build that, again, you just get to sit around and do weird things that you normally wouldn't do, and I think that can always be fun. So make sure that you're obviously having fun where you can, twisting things the way you can, and coming up with crazy and cool creatures for your party to face, because that's what keeps it interesting and fun. And yeah, again, really fun to do things like this. I did a couple other ones that turned out really cool as well. But yeah, and when I'm just showing off my actual, Beastioid, in a sense, miniatures today, I am a huge terrain fan, and there is a company called Tabletop World that does absolutely phenomenal buildings, and I have a couple of their buildings. I have a section of their castle that I painted up. I definitely want to go over that. I'm going to wait until I get a couple more big pieces from them and actually do a whole review on Tabletop World, because I would highly recommend checking them out as well. They have the best building terrain in the world right now. So, but that is my collection here of my favorite miniatures. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, and make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.